Welcome! My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And today we are working on our All Things Roses file folder folio. That's a mouthful. This is part 3. So I will link up in the cards here part 1 and part 2 so that you can have a look at those if you haven't already seen them. And I've also got a playlist going for all of the parts in here, and that will be linked in the description below. And this is a design team project for the Junk Journal Studio. So I'm using the kit called All Things Roses, and it's a beautiful kit. It's got beautiful colors and images. And if you stick with me here, if you haven't already heard about the freebies to do with the Junk Journal Studio, I will tell you how you can get 52 pages, 52 pages of printables for this kit for free before the end of February 2024. So I'm just going to do a little work on here, and then we'll talk about the freebies and tell you all about the kit and everything else that's available. So the first thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to put some things on the back of this flap here. We did this flap last time. So I'm just going to work on the back of this flap. So I've decided to just put this at the top. So this will be just kind of a liner underneath the pocket. And I'm going to put a large pocket here. And then I took one of the pieces of ephemera from the kit, and I'm going to put that on top here to make another little pocket. So let me just get these attached. Again, I'm going to use my big ATG gun. Oh, the sizes of these pieces, and they'll vary depending on what you are using for a file folder. But mine is 3 3/4 inches wide, which is 1/8 of an inch less than this width, and I did it 3 inches long. So it depends on how high your pocket is. My pocket is 5 inches tall, and I did 4 3/4 for my pocket. This is 3 3/4. This is 4 3/4 because I have the 2 1/2-inch gussets there, so I added an inch for that. So that's those two measurements. I'm just going to turn this around so I can get it on better, lined up better. And there we go. And then this one, I'm going to put glue on the flaps. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom here. And I did also put a thumb notch on the top of this pocket, and I did ink around all the edges. So this one I'm going to line up at the bottom here, and side to side. It's a little bit narrower than the flap, so it's going to be able to fit nicely and snugly in the middle there. So I'll just press that on. And I've decided to put a little bit of book page here and there on the folio just to kind of add a little bit more interest, a little bit of texture. So I'm just going to I ripped a little piece of a Bible book page here, and I'm just going to make that to fit on the side here. I think I'll just use my glue stick with that. Glue stick works perfectly with book page. And just roughly line that up on the edge there. I'm going to ink that a little bit. Sometimes I ink up book page when it's already on the project because it's a little bit thin to kind of try to ink on its own. And then I'm going to put my pocket there. So I'm just going to glue that on 3 sides here. This is kind of a heavy bead of glue. I probably should use my other one for the pockets. If you use a heavier bead of glue, then you get a smaller pocket in the end because the glue oozes in towards the center. So that's why I have this glue with the fine tip, which I'll use next time. There, so there's my flap so far. Okay, so let's work on the closure for the flap here. And I had seen a recent video from Tracie Fox showing how she mass maked. It's basically just these two pieces, and then you have them available in a bowl at the side of your desk or whatever, and whenever you need a closure, you just grab a closure, and it's really quick and easy to put these on. Sometimes we avoid making these because it's like, oh, I have to pull out the punch for this and punch for this and the brads for this and the punch for this. It just seems like too much of an effort, and we end up doing something quick and easy instead. So I thought it was brilliant to do this as a mass make. So what you do, and you can put them, make them in generic colors so they match everything. These, of course, I used with the All Things Roses kit, and I'll show you exactly how to make these in 2 secs. But then when you're done, you glue part of it on your flap here, and you glue this part on wherever you want. I'm going to glue mine at the top here, and then you wind your string there and you're done. You don't have to punch a hole in your project. It's just a fabulous idea. So what she does is, and you can make it different ways. She has a way of making it. She shows 3 different ways using the whale tail punch, which I happen to have, so I'm going to use that. But you could use another tab punch. You could make your own tabs. She shows it how to make a tab using an envelope punch board, so you can use that as well. But I'm going to show this because this is what I have. So I'm just going to take one of the large tickets that's a part of the kit, and I'm going to attempt to punch a tab out of that. So you just have to get it lined up so that it's going to punch the whole thing here. I think that is good. So punch that out. A little bit tricky to get it in there, but not impossible. So there I have my tab. I'll just fold that in half and just ink the edges of that a little bit. I'm going to do it front and back because the back will show as well. Okay, and then we will need some circles. So we need 2 of these smaller circles, and you can use different sizes of punches, whatever you have. You could even make them little squares or whatever, but I have a 3/4 inch punch, and that's what I decided to use for the small punch, for the small circle. So I have a piece of blue paper from the kit, and I'm just going to make 2 little blue circles, and then I'm going to take a little scrap of file folder, and I'm going to punch out 2 more circles, 2 more of these small circles. It doesn't matter if they have lines on them or anything because you're not going to see that. Then I just put a little bit of glue at the back here, put my circle on the back. I usually kind of move it around a little bit, and then that kind of gets the glue incorporated everywhere. I'll just put that aside to dry for a second. And the second one, so you need 2 little circles. I find a 1/2 inch circle is maybe a little small. 3/4 inch is a nice size if you have that. If you don't have it, you can adapt whatever you have. Okay, so there's the second one. I'll put that one aside to dry for a minute. And then we need 1 larger circle. So I have a 1 inch punch that I'm going to use for that. So I'm just going to make 1 of those. So I'll just punch out 1 of those, and 1 from, I'm just going to use the same colors I used in the first one, and a 1 inch punch of that pink relief digital paper, which I love. this one here. I really love that one. All right, so we'll just put that aside for a second. And then the next thing that we want to do is punch holes in the center here. And I don't know about you, but I always have trouble finding the center of a circle. It just never seems to look like it's in the center when I'm done. So what I've decided to do, and I've done this for a while now, is I punch out another circle just out of a scrap piece of paper. I fold it in half, and then I fold it in quarters. I just do a little snip in the center, and then I open it up, and I have a template with a hole right in the perfect center of the circle. So I put that over top of my other circle. I'll just do it on the back so it doesn't show and it's easier to see actually as well. Just line up my template. I'll put a little pen mark there. And there's my marking for my circle right in the center. I do the same thing with the small circle. I punch out a small circle, fold it in half, fold it in quarters, give a little snip to the center, and then I have a perfect template for my 3/4 inch. So I'm going to put those on the back of these 3/4 inch circles and make a little mark. There's my marking for the center, and this one as well. So can you see how making these ahead of time, like doing a mass make, would be like a fabulous idea? Tracie Fox is so brilliant. She comes up with ideas that we all wish we would have thought of. So I'm just going to punch with my small hole punch in the center. And then I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to ink around these circles a little bit. I think it just finishes off those edges nicely. Right. And then I'm going to take a brad. I have this just a little gem brad this time. I'm going to put it through my small circle, then through my large circle. And then I'd made this template a long time ago as well. And this is a thick file folder. I actually glued 2 pieces of file folder together so it's a little bit thicker even. And then I cut a slit in here, just I think but with the scissors. And then if I put this in between the small circle and the big circle, what it's going to do is it's just going to give me a little bit of a shim so that these 2 circles are not super tight against each other, because that will allow for the cording to move through when we have our closure put together. So I just do it like that. And then I'll slide that out, and there's my first piece. And see, there's a little bit of a spacing in there for my cord. It's not super tight now. See, it still doesn't look perfectly in the center. I think these brads, these ones in particular, they don't come together in the center, so then they come out from the sides, so then they kind of just look a little wonky. But I'm okay with that. Okay, and then the other piece, we want this to be on the tab, and we want it to be close to the fold of the tab. So just kind of put it close to the fold and a little bit centered from side to side, and just put a little mark there, and you can punch that hole. And then I'll put my other brad here, and I'll put that in my small circle. I'll put it into the hole in the tab. I'll put my template, fit that over the legs of the brad. Turn it over and spread the legs nice and tight, and then pull this out. And there we have another one with a little bit of space in between. So I'll use these new ones I just made. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue on the back here. And I'm going to just center that on the back of this flap. Like that. And I'm just going to put some glue on the top. Oops. On the top as well. See, this way you don't need to put a hole in your project, and I always struggled with that because I don't have a big bite crocodile, and if I needed to put a hole somewhere where my crocodile wouldn't reach, then I had to make a messy hole with my awl or something like that. I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of work to do all of these pieces, and this way you just make things ahead of time and you're good to go. And then this one you just glue straight on your project. You don't need to have a hole in your project again. So I'm going to put that just fairly close to the top, center from side to side. Just press that on for a second. And I'll just maybe let those dry a bit before I put the ribbon on there. So there is the beginning of my closure there. So the next piece I'm going to put on is I'm going to put on a belly band in this last flap, the inside of the last flap here. Of course you can do these wherever you like. So I cut a strip of paper that is 2 inches wide, and mine is 9 1/4 inches tall. My folio was 8 1/4, and I wanted 2 1/2-inch tabs, so it's 9 1/4 that I cut. This one is actually lightweight cardstock, so it's a little bit thicker. But sometimes I like to have a little bit of a tab on my belly bands. You don't strictly need to do that. You can just cut it like this and just glue it right on the belly band. But this time I'm going to use the flaps. Gives you a little bit more room underneath the belly band as well, if you want that space. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the 2 tabs. And then center that onto this last page. There's our belly band. Okay, and then I'm just going to put this aside for a minute. And I'm going to make a little flippity thing that was on top of my belly band last time. So I'll just take this out so we don't get confused with that. So there's my belly band underneath, and then there's this little flip out thing with a couple of little pockets in there. So I'm going to make that. I'm going to do slightly different than I did the first time. So what I need is a piece of, I have cardstock, again here, lightweight cardstock. I printed it on both sides. It's good to be double-sided. These are, of course, more freebie papers from the All Things Roses kit. And this particular piece is 11 inches long, so the whole length of the paper, and it is 3 inches wide. So 3 inches wide by 11 inches long. And then I just scored this one at 4 inches and 8 1/2 inches. That's it. And then I just folded on those scores. So that's the beginning of our little piece there. And I think I'm going to do a bit of rounding the corners here. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch round on the top part here. I could do the bottom as well, but I think I won't. But I think I will do the top flap here. So this is rounded and this is rounded here. And then I'm going to make some little pockets like I had in the other one. And this one, let me just look at my initial one here. Yeah, I think I'll put that right at the bottom. So then I want to, oh, well, I should tell you about the pockets first. So the pockets are 3 inches wide again. So I cut another strip that was 3 inches wide, and I didn't use the entire strip. So if you have a scrap, that would work as well. It doesn't have to be the same paper. I used the same paper as my original strip, but you could use different. They all the pages coordinate, so you don't need to worry about that. So I cut 3 inches wide, and each one of the pockets is 1.5 inches tall. And then I cut 3 of those, and then I did a little thumb notch in the center here. I just used my oval punch, and I just put all 3 together, and I just lined it up and punched my holes there, or my notches. So I'm going to just ink just the top edge, because that won't be easy to do afterwards. And then this one I'm going to ink on the yellow side, so the opposite side. This would actually be a really nice project for sewing. I'm probably not going to sew much in this project, if at all, just kind of for time's sake. But I think it would look really neat to do some stitching in here. So if that's your thing, then go ahead and do that. So I'm going to get my thin bead of glue here and see if that will cooperate with me. So I want to glue one of my pockets at the bottom here. I think I will glue it right at the bottom. So then I want to put a 1/4 inch rounding punch there as well. And I can ink the outer edges when I ink the whole project, so I'm not worried about that yet. Yeah, that's much better for this sort of pocket. Nice thin bead of glue here. And line that up on the bottom there. Just make sure it's not sticking up on the other side or anything. And then I have this one that I'm going to put here, and this one doesn't have a rounded bottom, so I'm not going to round those edges of this one. All 3 sides. And then snug that up right to that bottom there. Make sure you can still fold it nicely. This one is going edge to edge, so you can just do it completely edge to edge. There's no extra margin there. And then the last one, I'm just going to turn around on the yellow side, and I'm going to put it on this flap here. So this is on the outside short flap here. You can also do it here. Do I like that better? But I need a little bit of a closure here. I think I'll put it up here. So I'm just going to round the bottom 2 corners again. This is the kind of project too, you know, you can follow the rough idea of it, and then you could make it wider, longer, put pockets in different places, different types of pockets. You could put angle pockets, you know, all kinds of different things. I'm just kind of doing it very similar to the first one, just to kind of show you all the little details. Okay, so then I'm just going to ink around all of the edges here. So I'll open it up and ink around all the sides, all the folds, front and back, and I'll be right back. So I inked around all of the edges here. I remembered halfway through that I don't actually need to ink the back because I'm going to attach the back, but you could have it as a loose piece as well. And it's funny, I was inking it, and I was listening at the same time to Michelle from the Junk Journal Studio talking about the kit. She has just a flip through, and she was talking about these images and how beautiful they are, and I agree, and I had printed these out, and she said they would be perfect for closing a flap of an envelope or on a belly band. And I'm like, oh, that would be perfect here. And look how beautiful that fits. Just perfect. So I already had glued my pocket there, but I'm going to glue this on top so it'll kind of look like there's a bit of a band at the back. And I'm going to cover up my pocket so you know what, I could just attach it here and I could still have a little secret pocket there. Maybe that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. And then I'll just have it attached at the top. And I'll see if the weight of it will make it stay closed, or if I need to put like a little Velcro piece or something. I think because the white is going to show, I don't really want to back it onto something else because then I'll have to fussy cut it out again, and I'm too lazy to do that right now. So I'm just going to ink the back, that part that will show, and then I'm going to just try to leave that pocket functional. So I'm going to put some glue here and just kind of a little bit towards the edge. And I think that will work. So let me just grab a little bitty thing. Yeah, so that's cool. So now I have a little functional pocket. You could use something a little bit smaller. You could, whoops, you could just have a little secret pocket there. You could even peek them out to the side. That would look really cute. So I like that idea. And then this flips up, and then see how that just blends right with the yellow there, and that opens up like that. We'll do some decorating here after, and I think that's going to actually stay closed well enough without a closure, but we'll see later if we want to add a closure. So I'm just going to glue that onto the belly band here, right onto the belly band. So let me just maybe mark on the belly band where I want this to be glued. And I'll just glue in between those two pencil lines. Like I said, you can also make this like just a standalone piece just to tuck into a pocket or something. That would be cute too, or make two of them. You could have two of them and use one for the belly band and one for just tucking in a pocket. It's a cute little piece of ephemera. I think I initially got this idea from G. Kerr from Happiness and Crafting, probably years ago. And then, you know, I had made it in my original project in 2022, so a couple of years ago. And then, you know, you adapt it, and in the end you kind of almost think it's yours because you've done it so many times in different ways. So I'm just testing and making sure the belly band is not glued to the back, and it's not, so that is just beautiful. I love that. So there we go. All right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the freebies now. So how you can get the freebies if you haven't encountered that yet. There are 9 design team members for the Junk Journal Studio, and including Michelle from the Junk Journal studio. There's 10 of us, and between the 10 of us, we have 52 pages of freebies to offer you for this kit. So all of the papers that coordinate with this kit, all of the papers that I've used so far, and obviously many, many more because there's 52, are available for free between now and February 29th, 2024. And what you need to do is you need to go to each design team member's YouTube channel and find the video that they introduce their freebie, and probably they'll do it like I'm doing it for every one of my videos in February, because I'm working on this project probably all the month of February. But there will be a hashtag, and I had it here, but it's hashtag all things roses. I'll put it on the screen. And you can search for the hashtag. You can go to each individual design team member's YouTube channel. If you subscribe to their YouTube channel and to mine, and ask to have all notifications, then when the new videos come up that have the freebies, then you will be notified, and then you can go and download each one of those sets of freebies. And you can count and see if you've got them all. I'll link all of the channels below, so you can make a list of the channels and just make sure you visit them all, get them all before the end of February. And then if you miss some, or if that's just too much work for you, after February 29th, Michelle will list all of the papers in her Etsy shop, and all of her kits are very, very reasonably priced. So if you don't have the time or inclination to do it that way, then that might be a great option for you too. And then Michelle has another kit, which is called All Things Roses. I had it here. All Things Roses. Maybe that's just called All Things Roses. I think there's some mega pack or something like that. And there's, I can't remember how many pages. I'll have to look that up again. There's 20, page 24. I think it's something like 30 pages of ephemera. I know there's 10 pages alone of fussy cuts, and I've showed you the fussy cuts last time. I am so in love with these fussy cuts. I had my Cricut cut them out, and they are just beautiful. Just beautiful. There's a teacup with a bird, and there's 10 pages of them. I just cut out a couple of pages of them, but so I'm going to use those in decorating my journal. Beautiful, beautiful. And then there's tickets, there's stamps in different sizes, there's these sort of labels with beautiful images, some more of these. This sort of label, little tea cards, and I didn't print out everything. I just printed out the things I thought I might want to use for this kit. Beautiful little tea labels, and then there's large postcards. I've used one of them already for inside here. No, where did I put it? Here. This is the front of one of the postcards, so I glued that one on. There's the back of the postcards. You could take the two sides of the postcard and glue them side by side. I think what I might do is stitch on 3 sides and then make a little pocket here and use that for a little tuck somewhere there. But beautiful. And I think all of these things are probably vintage. Michelle usually searches out really good vintage ephemera. And here's some more of the stamps. These are the smaller ones that are canceled. So cute. Here's some soap labels. Different types of soap labels. Another just little label there. Here's some tickets. Beautiful, beautiful. And then here's a library card. And then there are, I think, 5 pages of words. in different colors. This is the kind of the just vintage tan or whatever. But she's also got them in this sort of dusty rose and in the pinker version, in the teal, in black. Maybe that's, oh, and yellow, I think, probably. So I think there's 5 of them. And they all have different things on the side here. So, you know, sweet fragrance, delicate rose, love is like a wild rose. Roses never tell, they show. A rose is perfect at every moment. Lovely, wild roses. So I'm going to cut a few of those out and decorate this at the end too. So check out in the description below. Make sure you grab all the freebies if you want to do it that way. Visit Michelle's Etsy shop, and right now also until the end of February she has the entire shop on sale, so she's got lots of gorgeous kits. Make sure you check out her labels. Her labels are the best. She's got so many label kits and they're just awesome. I've used them many times in the past. But check out her All Things Roses kit on her Etsy shop, and then either get the 52 freebies or wait until she's got it in the shop and then purchase it there. And this is a beautiful kit. This, you can use this any time of the year. It's just, and it's got so many different, you know, I didn't go too much into the real pinks and some of the yellows. There's so many different ways you can tone the different colors. They all just blend beautifully. Anyways, let's get back to the project. Okay, so the next thing I decided to do is, this is a couple different pieces of ephemera, and I mentioned this in the last video. My printer is printing with some vertical banding, or it was. I fixed it, I cleaned the print heads and did all that stuff, but in the meantime I had printed out a bunch of stuff before I noticed it, so I'm still going to use it. I think it kind of adds a little bit to the vintage, at least that's what I'm telling myself, but yours won't have that vertical banding, so I just wanted to point that out. So this one I printed this beautiful, there's a few different strip images in the freebie kit. Again, these are freebie pages. I printed it front and back. This is a freebie page as well. And then what I did is I cut this piece. Let me just turn it around here. I think it's at 7 1/4. Yeah, so I cut at 7 1/4 inches. So this is still 8 1/2 inches tall, and I cut it at 7 1/4 inches. And then the other strip that was left, so that will be 3 3/4 left, I just cut that in half. So I cut it into 2 pieces at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to put these 2 pieces aside for a minute, and I'm going to grab this piece, and this is going to be this piece that I had in my original. It's just kind of a little letter sort of thing, and it's going to go around the belly band. So I'll show you how that works in a second. So I'm just going to put this in my scorer. It doesn't really matter which side is up, down, unless you have a directional print. You may want the folder to go this way, but it's going to be in the journal this way, so it's probably better not to really use a directional print. So I'm just going to put this up at the top edge of my scoring board, and I'm going to score at 2 3/4 and 6 1/4. 2 3/4 and 6 1/4. And then I just rounded each one of the 4 corners with my 1/4 inch rounder. And then I folded on my scores here. And that just gives me a little, kind of a little letter shape. And then I'm going to make, I'll maybe do that next time, but I'm going to make a little closure here. And I will ink around all of the edges, all of the creases and everything there. And then this will live here. So I'm going to put that through here so that the back is underneath the belly band. And then I'm going to fold it over the belly band. So then this belly band shows, and I'll have something pretty here. And then when you open it up, then you have another surprise. And then you open it up, and then you have another surprise. So, and then you have a little surprise pocket there as well that we just made. So I think that is going to look fabulous. So I'll ink that and think about the closure, and I might do that in the next video because I think we're probably getting close to a long video already. And then the other thing I wanted to do with these remnant pieces, so these remnant pieces will be 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I did crease mine, but I'm going to show you what I did. And you may not have this sort of punch. I have this punch, and actually I have this one, which is a similar punch, except it does a smaller hole. So if you have something like this, I think also the envelope punch board, not the punch board itself, but the punch board punch does this, I think. Someone was telling me. I don't have that punch, but so this is what we're going to do is on the inside flap here, I made these little, just kind of little tucks, and you can put something inside of there. And I closed them with this little notchy thing. And if you don't have a notched punch, you could use lots of different things to close them. You could just put a paper clip at the top, like this. You could even do a decorative paper clip, which maybe we'll do next time or one of the times. You could put a paper clip. You could just put a little circle there or a little rectangle there and just glue it on part of it and then kind of tuck it in. That's probably what we're going to do with our little thing here. I'm probably not going to make this the same way. I think I'm going to do it different because now I have my pretty lady there. But what I would do here is I'm going to just take this punch, I'm going to line it up on just eyeball as far in as it goes, and I'm going to punch it just like that. And it doesn't punch through, it just punches part of the circle. And then I'm going to put this flap in, and then I've already figured out the math, but I'll tuck that in, and then I'll crease it wherever that lands. Does that make sense? So I'll do it again here. So I'll take, pretend this is not folded. I'm just gonna, on one of the 3 3/4 inch sides, I'm going to just put this punch as far in as it goes. If you have this punch, give it a punch, and then just kind of wiggle it out of there, and then fold this over, and then wherever this lands, just kind of pull it out here and give it a crease wherever that happens to land, like that. So there we have two little fun elements, little notchy flips or whatever. I'm going to round on the side that's just poking out here. I'm going to round those edges with a 1/2 inch punch. And what did I use on the other one? I'm gonna see if I like doing the other ones in 1/4 inch. Yes, I do like that. So I rounded these two in 1/4 inch and these two in 1/2 inch, but I mean, you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to do this in a 1/4 inch. If I'm ever not explaining something that you can understand it, please just comment and ask me a question, and if it's something I need to show, I'll just show it in the next video. This is a series anyways, so if there's anything that you have questions about, or if you don't have the same punches or whatever and just are looking for an alternative, please just comment in the leave me a comment and I can either try to explain it there or I can show you in the next video. I'd be happy to do that. And speaking of comments, I love to hear from you. If I've heard a few of you are planning to follow along with this folio, and I would really love to hear. That really encourages me if people are following along and you're working on a folio too. And please share those things. I'd love to hear what you are doing. So these two will live here, and I'm going to glue them like that. And I'm going to glue them on 3 sides, and then I'm going to leave this open as a pocket there. So I do want to ink around all the edges first, so maybe I'll leave that until the next time as well. I'll ink this and then I'll show you how to put this in, and I'll show you how to put this in next time. So thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Oh, I didn't finish this either, so we'll finish that in the next session as well. Thank you so much for watching today. And again, if you're confused or anything, leave me a comment. If you are following along, please let me know that as well. And don't forget to check below in the description how you can get the freebies, how you can get the kit. Kit's on sale to February 29th. So blessings, and we'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks.